Hi everyone, you're joining me on a really dull and wet April's morning, which is quite unfortunate because this is the launch video for Yew Cottage Plants. Yew Cottage Plants is now a continuation of my garden account, Yew Cottage Garden, and everything I'm growing here are cottage style hardy perennials, hardy annuals or hardy biennials that I am now offering for sale. The pricing structure on a lot of these plants is going to be £8 each, 2 for £15 or 3 for £20. They're mostly in 2 litre pots, but for the smaller items like the calendula and the strawberries that are in tiny P9 pots, those will all be £2 each. I will take you through every plant shortly with an in-depth description of each one, but I just want to talk you through the process currently. As you can see, everything I'm growing here has been growing outdoors. The reason for this is all these plants are exposed to the elements. They're not yet in season, but the season is pending, so all of their seasonality is coming up soon. So why plant out of season? Well, it's been a really wet autumn, it's been a really wet spring, and these plants are raring to go. They're full of life and they're just raring to get going. By planting now, if you were buying a plant in flower or in colour, you're only denying yourself colour later on in the season. So to future-proof yourself, everything here is yet to flower. It hasn't went over, it is yet to come into flower. I am trying to work my plants to the best of their advantage, that they're going to be as drought tolerant as possible. So I have them outside that they can get rainwater. I have invested recently in rainwater harvesting quite heavily. I'm trying to minimise the amount of water I'm using from hose pipes in case there's hose pipe bans. Obviously just rainwater is naturally better for plants anyhow. And also, whilst they're being exposed to the elements here, you know, there's wind. This is quite a windy location, although today is quite a calm day, but the plants will grow more rigid and they'll grow more straight and they'll tolerate the wind. So, you know, you're not buying a plant that is literally come off a production line out of Holland and has arrived at your house from a garden centre and flops over in the first day. Everything here I'm growing is going to be really resilient, it's really hardy. I feel that my pricing structure is very competitive with current retail prices of plants. A lot of perennials now in garden centres range from £9.99 up till £14.99 or above. So as I've said, £8 each for any plant. You can mix and match 2 for £15 and any 3 for £20. I feel that's very competitive. My seed supplier is from County Galway. So all these plants that I have grown have all been grown from seed. Literally, as I've said, the seeds are coming from Galway, so everything is from the island of Ireland. I've been sowing them here in my tunnel, and yeah, by buying plants, you're supporting me obviously as a small starting up business, but also you're making a conscious effort on carbon footprint. So there's no additional air miles on any of these plants. There's nothing coming in from abroad. Everything's grown out here in the elements, so you know it's going to be hardy for your garden. Hopefully, if this does well, I want this to go further and hopefully become a website shop, so you could do like click and order, and I hope to post till UK and Ireland. At the moment, I'm only going to be offering this as a collection only service. So I'm based in BT45 in the north of Ireland. And you can contact me for my address and I can give it to you if you wish to come and view any of the plants. I do currently work full time, so I am a wee bit limited availability wise as to when I could be free, but I will try and work my very best with you to make this possible. And yeah, I am trying to grow batches of a lot of the same plant as well. As much as I would love people to mix and match plants, I would also really support people buying 3s or 4s or 6s of the one plant, just because bulking of one perennial looks far better than just an individual one on its own. If you're trying to do a bigger border, it just, for cohesiveness, to make a border flow better, it's nicer to have clumps of one plant only, but that is up to yourselves. So on my far right, we have geums. There's lots of geums there. Geum tangerine, so it has a lovely, bright, vivid orange flower. Looks fantastic, and those are coming into flower very shortly. They'll be flowering May right through to June and into July, and then if you chop them back, you can get a second flowering phase, kind of September, October time. Beside that then, we have the festuca, which is the bluegrass. Festuca is a really great low-growing plant, ideal for coastal locations if you're coastal. It's evergreen. It has this lovely blue sort of aqua coloured foliage. Beside it then, is the Iridium, the sea holly, or sea thistle. Again, lovely bright bluish silver flowers that are thistle-like in appearance. Again, drought tolerant, really good plant, really robust. Beside the sea holly then is a whole row there of lupins. The variety of lupin is called the Pages, which means it's a lovely, straight, bright red flowering lupin. I'm currently going through this obsession with red flowers at the minute, so hopefully they all turn out true to form, but they should do. Behind that is a small clump of malva. Malva is a medium height sort of mallow style flower. It has these lovely magenta pink flowers. Again, really good for coastal gardens. If you're coastal, it's wind tolerant. It's very good for dry soils as well. And in front of that then is the fennel. This is bronze fennel. Bronze fennel is brilliant. It's got this really amazing aroma to it. It can get really tall. You can use it as informal hedging. It's deciduous then in the winter time, so you just need to be cautious of that. But can get really tall really quick in a season. It's one of the very few plants in the world that will give you these amazing bronze foliage. It's really wispy. If the wind catches it, it can get knocked about. Again, it's very drought tolerant, so it's a really resilient plant. Next to it then is the lamb's ears. This is fantastic for kids. It has really soft leaves. It can be baked in full sun. It does well in really sort of sandy soils. Again, that's another coastal tolerant plant. It does eventually flower as well. It does have sort of purpley lilac pastel flowers very later in the summer, but for the majority of the year it's that really intense bright silver foliage. Beside it then, hasn't put on much growth yet, but this will be flowering flat out in full summer, is the pink achillea. Great for butterflies, great for bees, really insect friendly. It's a really flat domed flower, does great in full sun. Again, to an extent is drought tolerant, so that's a great one if you're trying to encourage bees and stuff into the garden. And then the next row up, again, another sort of silvery foliage one there, is the lichness. Lichness, I can only describe it as having a really, really, really vivid, intense magenta pink flower. It's almost luminous. It looks like a pink high-vis jacket when it flowers. It's incredible for a really big pop of colour, and that'll sort of take you through June right until August, depending on the season. Again, you can just chop it down after flowering and it still gives you these big clumps of sort of silvery foliage when it's not in flower. So that looks great. I've got two trays then, just further on up from that. That is the Rabinda, also known as the Mexican hat flower. Again, that's a fantastic sort of prairie planting flower. Looks great if you're trying to do like a naturalistic look with long grasses. It comes in this really unusual burnt brown, red, orangey shade. It's a really unusual colour, I can't describe it. Again, really late flowering in the season, so that'll take you into your August, September time. And it literally does look like a little Mexican hat. So absolutely stunning wee flower. Yeah, would really encourage you to buy that. I'm quite new to Rabinda actually, and it was my friend Lisa from Life and Soil, that's her account name. She actually gave me a packet of seeds or gave me a plant of it, and I've been growing it since. I'm absolutely hooked on it, so great plant. The Rabinda then we have calendula. Calendula comes in this really vivid, intense kind of orangey yellow flower. It's great for companion planting with vegetables. Now it's one of the hardy annuals, so those wee guys are £2 each. They flower their socks off, they'll go all season, and to be honest, if it's a mild enough winter, they do come back. Next to it then is another hardy annual. It is a type of echium. It comes in these really intense, vivid blue flowers. It's called Blue Better, I think, is the name of this one. It's great, the bees love this. Again, it flowers its socks off, really good for drought tolerant areas. Again, if it's a mild enough winter, it should come back, but it is treated as a one-off. I then have a tray of pink hollyhocks there, beside that there, and behind that some cerinthe. So there's lots of cerinthe available. There's this beautiful little copper Carax grass here in this container. Again, those will bulk out a wee bit more. They're still quite small at the moment. Those are £2 each, and that one's called Fireblaze. Stunning colour. I can't even describe it. It's like copper and orange mixed together. Behind that then, some hardy geraniums. So this one's called Purple Vision. It's a great ground cover plant. Again, not flowering at the moment, but that'll be intense vivid purple come June, July, August time. Behind that then is Trickerum. Trickerum I'm very new to. I don't know a lot about it. I follow Dan Pearson. He's a garden designer in England, for those who don't know. He uses it a lot in his planting designs. It's good for sort of shaded areas. It's good for sort of damper soils. Has these amazing sort of, it's called purple tails as its common name. Has these really tall, kind of like a foxglove style flowers, but like a really deep purple, almost black kind of colour to it. So really unusual. Behind that then, there's 2 boxes of Verbena bonariensis. I couldn't encourage you enough to buy Verbena bonariensis. That's a stunning plant, gets really tall, can get just maybe shy of 2 metres or approximately 2 metres. A wee bit short at the moment. That'll be flowering way later into the season, kind of like July, August, and it can go right into November, sometimes December if it's mild. The bees love it, the butterflies love it. Honestly, couldn't encourage you to buy that enough. It's a stunning plant. That'll sell really quick, and when you see it in flower, it's stunning. You can do informal hedges with it. You can put it at the back of a border. It's great for bright blue, kind of purple lilac flowers. Okay, so slightly further up then, so this is kind of a wee bit further up. I've got aqualegias down here at the front, which the camera will probably not pick up. I've got these amazing foxgloves. This is Digitalis grandiflora. It's like a really pale yellow, kind of buttery coloured foxglove. So it's really unusual. So if you're after something that's not your stereotypical purple foxglove, that's a really good buy. Beside it then is the milk chocolate foxglove. Again, this is completely new to me. I've seen this at Chelsea a lot. This is a hardy biennial, so obviously it hasn't flowered yet. Should be flowering this year. Gives you really tall spikes of literally milk chocolate. That's all I can describe it as, hence its name. These really unusual sort of brown flowers. Both this and the yellow foxglove are ideal for shade. So if you have a shaded area or a woodland area, this is your job. Next up beside it then is the Veronicastrum. I have both the blue and the white. Again, really tall flower and perennial. Really good for the back of a border. Looks amazing when the wind blows through it. Great in full sun. Can tolerate a wee bit of shade. Can do really poor soils. So again, a really robust plant. And then on up from it is a bay of Monarda or Bergamot. And it is a pastel pink variety. It's a really soft white pale pink, really aromatic foliage. Again, that'll be flowering later in the summer. Has these really unusual kind of almost honeysuckle style flowers to it, and that lovely sort of pastel tone, and again fragrant. And then behind this is a few other things that just aren't for sale yet but will be ready later in the season. There is strawberries there available. So strawberries are £2 each. That is last year's first runners, which means these haven't produced any fruit yet, which means this year they're going to be raring to go. So you'll get lots of strawberries off these very quickly. And I say they're all in little tiny pots. They're £2 each. And you can grow these in a grow bag if you wanted to. You can grow them in a planted container or a window box. There's so much you can do with strawberries. So loads of strawberries available. And then, yes, as I mentioned, there's a few perennials there behind which have just recently been divided. They are for sale if anybody is interested, but I would encourage you to keep them in the pots. They're just not ready to be planted out yet. But everything else I've talked about there today is all available to be planted out straight away. They're all raring to go. They're raring to get into new soil. They'll all flower this year. That's absolutely guaranteed. There is lots of hardy annuals been growing in the tunnel. Those are all coming soon. I will do another video about that. There's cosmos, loads of cosmos. There'll be more calendulas. There'll be more of that blue echium. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that. And also, let me know what you want to see. If there's a plant here I haven't mentioned and you want to see it, let me know. Drop me a message, drop me a comment. What else would you like to see? What else would, if you're local and I say you're in the north of Ireland or Ireland, what would you like to see me grow? And I will keep you posted and hopefully have a website very soon. And hopefully I can get these posted to people that live further away. In the meantime, I would greatly appreciate if possibly you could share this video or recommend it to a friend or someone, because I say I am a small starting up business. Any support is very welcome. I'm trying to be, as I've said, as organic as possible. I use grit on the top of the pots as an organic method to keep slugs off. So there's no slug pellets used, there's no chemicals used, no additional feed in the soil that the plants are growing in other than chicken pellets. These are hopefully going to be like the cleanest, most organic local plants that you can purchase. I'm almost peat free. I'm not quite peat free yet, but it's something I'm working on, so that will come over time as well. I can't claim I'm peat free yet because technically I'm not, but yes, that is in the pipeline. As you've maybe noticed, there's lots of big bags around the perimeter of where these plants are sitting. That's all the leaves I collected last autumn, leaf mould, and that'll all be turned into compost at some point. So yes, eventually that'll all be added into the soil mix as well. So yeah, hopefully organic, not quite organic yet, not quite peat free yet, but that is coming. So yes, if you enjoyed that, or if you want to see something else, drop me a message, or if you have any questions, drop me a message, or if you want to know any more details about any of the plants I've mentioned there, again, just ask me a question, private message me, whatever suits yourselves, I will get back to you. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Bye.